I'm not trying to bring on a liability. And I need you to understand that broke is a mindset.
Yeah.
Yeah? So broke is not about how much money. There are people that have money and still broke. Okay? People that are making good money and are still broke. Because broke is a mindset. And what we're trying to do is try and help you understand, give you the keys so that you can be broke but not have a broke mindset.
Yeah.
And eventually you will come out of that situation. Or you can be broke and have a broke mindset and you will stay broke
where you are.
You understand? Even you see people, they win the lottery, they win millions and they end up going broke again.
Yeah, because they didn't know how.
It's a mindset. They don't know how to manage their money. They don't know how to build wealth. They don't know how to handle money. So money flows and it flows into their hands and flows back out of them, no matter how much money it is. Okay? So for me, it's really, really, really important that you understand that there is going to be certain things that you can't bend on.
Absolutely.
And finance is one of it. Yo, people, welcome back to the Eman Effect podcast with your boy, Uncle Eman, aka Eman Asuko, and the wonderful...
I don't know why you always do that. I was waiting for you to start with all the descriptions.
Don't worry. when people watch the visuals, then you're glowing right now. There's no need to say. There's no words to describe your beauty right now.
Okay. Okay. It's Miriam, aka Mimi. How are you guys today?
Who are you asking?
I'm asking the people that watch your podcast, my G.
What? They don't watch it. What are they gonna say? Did you hear reply?
You always
They can't reply.
Okay. They'll reply where they are. They'll be like, yeah, I'm good. I'm listening to this podcast.
Okay, well done. Clap. Everyone clap for yourself. Everybody that when she asks how you're doing, you replied, clap for yourself. Okay?
Oh,
and then think about your life. Like,
this
what
guy
are you really
is
doing?
not. Don't mind him.
You're on your own replying to yourself.
Don't mind him.
She's
Please don't mind him.
She's not hearing you.
Don't mind him.
Oh, Lord. Anyway.
It's good to check in on people. Stop it.
Yeah, check in on your friends. Yes, do that. Don't check in on, be replying to somebody that can't hear you. Please. You'll be in the street looking to end up in a straitjacket, okay? So don't make her make you end up in psych ward.
Don't mind him. Don't mind him.
All right, cool.
Thank you.
So we're here. Another podcast.
Another one.
We're back again. DJ Khaled. And yeah, what are we talking about today, man?
So someone asked a question, so we thought we'd bring it on here. And it says, what do you do if your partner has different goals to you?
You know what? Thank you. Number one. And guys, definitely everyone, if you have a question, if you are listening and you know, you end up having a debate or you disagree with something or you want to challenge something that we talk about or say, please put in the comments, let us know. And we'll definitely bring it onto the pod. If there's a topic that you're having in your life or there's something you're facing in your life and you're like, actually, I'd love to get some advice on that.
Some clarity.
Let us know and we'll definitely discuss it in the podcast and hopefully give you some more clarity and some piece of advice and some words. So thank you. So the question again.
What do you do if your partner has different goals to you?
Okay, cool. This one I like, but you have to break it down. When you say partner, you see in this 2022, partner can mean anything right now. What are we talking about? Because there are people who are in situationships. There are people who are literally just having sex and nothing else. There are people who are friends.
Yeah.
Or there are people who act like lovers but don't actually go the other side. There are people who are courting. There are people who are married. There are people in civil partnership. There are people in long-term relationships. There are people with children together but don't live together. What are we really talking about? What is, when you say partner, let's define it so that person at home that is really garlic bread, that is really sweet corn, chicken wings, that one that is doing side dish should know that this one is not for you. This one is not you. We need to be clear that people know who we are talking about, what situation. Because some people we talk about, no, sorry sis, sorry my bro, you're not. This is not. You haven't reached partner level. You're not a partner, okay?
Okay.
So what is partner? So people know what partner is.
Okay, I think partner is someone you've been dating in a long-term relationship that you see a future with, I think. I think obviously if you're engaged to be married, if you're already married, civil partnership, that type of deal, I think. I don't know if there's a time frame on how you
What if
classify.
there's no marriage? You're just
Yeah, it's a long-term relationship.
yeah. What if it's not long? What if you only just got to know each other?
I mean, is there a time frame on how you can define if someone is your partner? Because
Yeah,
if
but
you
you
start
said
talking
long
about
term.
yeah,
1
but if you
month is
start
not
talking about goals,
six
then you
months. Is that long term?
6 months. After 6 months, you can decide it's not going anywhere. I think a year, because after a year, if you're still with someone a year, then you're looking at building a future. And after 6 months, you're like, this is my wake up, my non work, so we just
Okay,
walk
cool.
away.
Okay, cool. So when we're talking about partners, I think it's important that you both have spoken to each other and know where you stand. I
There's
think,
exclusivity.
yeah, there has to be. There
Yeah.
has to be. You can't be sharing goals and trying to build and trying to, whether it's a family, whether it's property, whether it's investing, whether it's just building a connection over the long term with somebody that is not focused on doing the same back to you.
Yeah.
So for me, when we're talking partnership, we are talking that we are partners, we are together, and I am focused on getting to know you and building with you, and I haven't got the external distractions.
Yeah.
Yeah? Because I feel there are a lot of people who say they're not in open relationships, but
But
yeah,
they
they
are.
are. You know what I mean? That's community. You understand? You understand? You're part of a community. Do you know what I mean? Whether
You're on rotation.
you're on rotation,
Days
you
of the
understand?
week.
So it's important that when we're talking relationship, we are talking about and talking about partner. We're talking about two people who are committed to one another and are now at a point where they are saying that we're not longer having the outside. Now, some people might say, "Oh no, I've got a partner, but we got an open relationship." I don't know for you. I don't know. I don't know. I'm not that advanced. You see me? I don't talk what I don't know. I don't know. I don't know it. I don't know it. Okay, I don't know it, so I can't discuss it. Okay, all I know is that two people that are saying, "Look, this is us. This is where we're at. I'm with you. You're with me. I'm able to claim you in public."
I knew you went there. Hey.
Some people are ready to. Some people are giving loans. Some people are giving people their money. Some people are giving people keys to their house.
Oh my gosh.
Some people are going to people's house to go and clean their boxes and go and hoover their house when they're not there. And this person wouldn't even put your Instagram. This person will put ice cream on Instagram. They will put somebody else's dog on Instagram. They will post trainers and everything on Instagram.
Oh
but they will
my
not post
gosh.
you. And you say, oh, because our thing is private. They don't love you, okay? It's not not a private. It's not a private. It's because if they post you, the others will go mad, okay? The others will go mad. When they're now, even the ones that post you and they, oh yeah, just out with my sis or my friend or the friend. When he was blowing your back, eh? When he was telling you, call me this, say my name. If no one is around you. When were you doing Destiny's Child?
Oh my Lord.
When you was doing Full Enjoyment, there was no friend there.
There was no friend there.
It was deeper the deeper. Now that we are in public.
You're
now
my
that I'm
sis.
posting
You're
you,
my good sis.
friend, my brethren, the man them.
Hey.
It's not acceptable. It's not acceptable. Know your standard, know your levels, know your value, know your what. So let's be clear.
Let's be clear what partner is.
Let's be clear. I don't want you planning, loaning money, trying to having this with people that are not ready to have not told you that they are with you solely. That there has to be that level of commitment.
Absolutely.
If we're talking, and I always say, I'm not a businessman, I'm a businessman. And I love that line because we need to start thinking about business. If you're going into partnership with somebody and you've got to put in X amount of money, in the contract, they're gonna be commitment to how much time you spend on the business. Do you know what I mean? Even though you may have other interests outside in regards to other businesses or whatever, there's gonna be a commitment. Like when I do contracts with clients, when I make content, they will say you can't post another brand or
another
you
brand
can't
similar,
for a period of time. Because they understand that we are coming into a contract and there's a level of commitment that I'm doing to the company. if we can do this for company, we can do this for business, we can do this to make money. Why are we not doing this in our relationships?
Hey, question.
All right. So there needs to be a level of commitment. Okay. And don't try and lower your standard, the level of commitment, just so you have a man. Please, sis, be happy to be alone. Understand that you are preparing yourself for what the best that is coming. Do not feel like, oh, I don't want to be alone. I hate being alone. So you will now start to lower your standard. You'll now start to say, yeah, I'm going to be the man that can be with, as long as he doesn't, you know how many times I hear, as long as he doesn't do it in my face, all men are going to cheat. As long as he doesn't do it in my face, as long as he's respectable. Listen, even me, you have to be brave. You see me, I love myself. My wife is really Nigerian. Really, from the Niger. Real there. So for me, it's like you have to know what you're doing. You wanna make sure that you're not out here just entertaining. Even now, the way that I will even talk to women, the way that I will interact, it's had to change.
It's had to change.
It's had to change. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? Because I understand the level of respect. I remember there was a time when I used to go out with my wife, this woman here, and my phone will be ringing. And it'll be 10, 11 o'clock. And she will be on to me.
Yes.
Listen, you see my wife here? You see my wife? When my phone ring here, I don't know if God doesn't tell her first before that phone ring. The phone will vibrate. By the time I've looked at her, she's already looked at the screen. I said, wow. She's already looked at the screen, read the name. She knows who is calling now. And so she'll be saying, so if I wasn't here, you see, my wife knows how to use her number 6. Her number 6 is intact. For those that don't know number 6 is your brain, okay? And so she knows how to use her number 6. And so she'll be saying, if I wasn't here, you would have answered that. Eman, who will be calling you at this time?
You have to ask the questions.
It's not the man then. At this late hour of the night. And she said to me straight, listen, if you want to be doing entertaining all this, it's fine. Just leave me alone.
It's true.
Just leave me alone. I'm not in it. I don't want it. I don't want that drama. And I had to make a decision. Am I ready to commit? Don't get me wrong. This is not after the first date. This is after a while. But she understood that, okay, before I can really start to give my heart to this man, give my time, my attention, my emotion, my trust to this man, I need to hear it from him, that he's ready to commit to me.
Yeah.
I'm not going to commit to a man that is not committed to me.
No. And we're not even talking marriage. This was just when we first started dating. Like, because Emmanuel was the Mac daddy.
Stop that. Stop that. Don't.
Why is he asking? You know, he said it so many different ways, so many different podcasts, so many different things. How he used to get the gather.
No. Don't say this. I am saved by God's blood. I'm renewed. I have been washed. I've been baptized. Since I've been baptized, I've only been married. So we can just... Oh
my gosh, this guy makes me laugh. Anyway, so yeah, we had to make sure that we were going into this journey committed to each other, even if we weren't sure if we were going to get married at that time, but we had to make sure that we were both focused on each other, and that's how we obviously built our relationship, and we're here.
And it's important, let's be honest, like there was when I was out and single, you know what I mean, there were girls that I was with and maybe they were waiting, maybe they felt like, okay, I'm just going to enjoy the moment. I just love being in his presence, or I just love being out and being around, or I love how he treats me and so forth. So they never asked for the commitment. They never asked for the commitment.
Yeah.
And then when they found out that I had, moved on and I'm getting engaged and a lot of them messaged me, Eman, what's this? What happened? Why didn't you pick me? Oh, the amount of questions. And it came down to, when did we ever
have that conversation
that we were going to be committed to one another? And I realized that with these women, as long as I was treating them well, looking after them, they had settled in themselves that, okay, eventually one day. But actually, it's important to have that conversation, because what you don't want to do is give your heart, give your soul to somebody, and then it not be reciprocated. And don't get me wrong, it's not always that you can always avoid it. Sometimes it's going to happen. Do you know what I mean? Like, don't be afraid to commit and so forth. But make sure if you're committing, the person is committing back to you.
Yeah.
Even if they're telling you they're committing back to you, but they decide to cheat, then you don't have to feel bad for yourself. Do you know what I mean?
Because you gave your all.
You gave your all, and you were open, and you asked them to do the same. And if they don't, then that's on them. That's not on you. Do you know what I mean?
You dodged a bullet.
You dodged a bullet. Do you know what I mean? So, but it's really important that, because I found that, even certain girls, it took a while. Like, man's married, kids, and they're still hanging on, still calling, still texting. Till I had to change my number up and just, do you know what I mean? And it's like, actually, where was the commitment? Where was the agreement that we were partners, that we were together? Don't commit to somebody that's not committing to you. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And ask that up front. Like, at the end of the day, like, let's be honest, Mimi, when you were sticking it on, man, like that, you were risking the fact that I say, rah, I feel too pressured, and I'll take a step back.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
But you understood to yourself that, you know what, I'd rather you take a step back, and I know that's where we're at.
Yeah.
And then I'm not close to speaking to other people or getting to know other people or focusing on myself and focusing on my own personal goals. Because sometimes, actually, what happens is that we commit, and then your own personal goals get pushed aside for goals together.
Yeah. Yes, that's true.
But you are creating goals for you and your partner, but you are the only one committed in the relationship.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely important that both of you are on the same page. Like, because if one is saying one is one leg in and one leg out, then they're always looking for the exit. And then you're working towards nothing, basically. What's that? You're running a treadmill. It's just cycles, continual cycles. Nothing is going forward. Nothing is changing. Nothing is happening. And then you're 5 years in and realize, shoot, I'm in the same position I was 5 years ago, because as much as I'm committed to them, they weren't committed to me, and we were just doing a merry dance.
Yeah. So it's so important. Like, but how do you feel like for women like now, where they don't want to be alone, like they're in a position, maybe they're older, like, because obviously you're older now. Maybe that when we were speaking, you're in mid-20s, so maybe you're younger, you're fresher, you're thinking, I'm gonna get snapped up.
Yeah.
Okay, so your confidence levels are higher. So maybe when you're young, you feel confident to have that conversation because you feel like you've got time.
Yeah.
So a woman now in her 30s that maybe feels that, if I want to have children, I need to be getting something. I need to be in a relationship. Maybe she doesn't feel as confident to say something because she feels like men are not there's not as much men out there. And obviously due to past experiences that she's had, she's not as comfortable. And so because of that, she may feel like, I don't want to run this guy away. A lot of men are scared of commitment. This is what she might be telling herself. How would you give them advice on having that conversation or the importance of still having that conversation anyway?
I think if you're like, obviously you're not going to have the conversation within the first month or 2 months of meeting this person, but obviously through speaking to the person, you'll know what they're on. You'll get a vibe or feeling of what they are on. And I feel you have to set your own personal goals for yourself to say, okay, if we get to a certain point, then I will bring up the conversation. And you don't want to waste your time. You don't want to be sitting there 2 years in and you haven't had the conversation. It's a waste of your time. I feel like you have to know in yourself that this is what I want. And let's be honest, when you're in your 30s, the options might be slightly different. It might be a guy that's divorced. It might be a guy that's got children. It might be a guy who's a little bit older than you. But you have to come to a realization that this is what you want and what you're willing to accept. And yes, it might be different because trust me, what you want in your 20s, when you get to your 30s, it's a completely different, it's a different playing field. So you have to say, okay, I'm in my 30s now. I'm willing to work with a guy who's got a kid or with a guy who's divorced or a guy who's older than me. And you need to set what you want, because the worst thing is being unhappy in your relationship. The worst thing is being with someone who makes you unhappy and then it affects your mental health because you're constantly thinking, what's the guy doing? You're checking up on him. You can't find peace within yourself. Being in a relationship is good, don't get it wrong, but being in a wrong relationship is worse.
I'll say that again because I think...
Did I mean to say that wrong?
No, yeah.
Being in a relationship is good. being in a bad relationship is worse.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Okay.
Because just because you want to be with someone, you will accept disrespect. That doesn't mean anything. That doesn't help anybody in the short term, medium term, long term. So I think you need to find what you're comfortable with, what you're willing to accept, and search that. What do you think as a man?
Yeah, I think as a man, I think men we're a bit more luckier. It's a bit different in regards to we can go longer, and so we can be in our 40s and still get a nice young spice in the 20 somethings and do enjoyment. So I think for men, there's that whole it's not a struggle, but I think as a man that has sisters, that has daughters, that I just feel like women shouldn't feel like they must get a guy in London or in the UK. Like the world is open. Like you can meet someone that can be your potential partner anywhere. So be a bit more open. Do you know what I mean? Don't limit yourself. Don't limit love. Do you know what I mean? Know what you're looking for. I think again a lot of women are very loyal towards only wanting to marry black men. And black men are similar. I think it's similar stats when it comes to when you look at black men that are married, they're mostly married to black women and so forth. But I think we're now at a place where the world is changing, things are opening up, and so you might be able to find someone from a different culture that still can relate to yours, and you can still create something.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's a numbers game. I'm a numbers person, so for me, I'm a numbers person. So for me, I always look at numbers like the more people you know, the bigger your network. The bigger your network, the more likely you are to either get someone to bring someone your way or to be connected with someone.
Yeah.
So whether it's connecting through actually meeting man them, or whether it's connecting with women that can potentially have brothers, cousins, whatever,
Yeah.
or have friends. Do you understand? Open your network. Be out there. Be social. Be approachable. Be active. Be intentional. Put yourself in place. Man, I don't know where to find man. What type of man are you looking for? Go to networking events.
It's
Do you know what I mean? Be there. And when you go there, don't sit there stush looking at everybody. Oh, hi. Hi. Yeah. Hi. Like, chill out. Understand that you're in an environment where everyone's come to network. So everybody here is here to network. So that no one's gonna feel like you're forward if you approach someone and say hello or
Yeah,
talk about
exactly.
so what made you come today? Like just have little one-liners like what brought you here today? Oh, do you come to networking events a lot? Oh, do you understand? Just start open up the conversation. Like and talk about find people's interests and connect, and then go for coffees and talks. And if you feel like actually I don't want to time loads of time out, set up Zoom meetings.
It's true.
You can set up a Zoom, like you can set up a WhatsApp video call, whatever it may be. You can have these conversations and get to know people without having to be out, and then you can then build. Like don't feel like unless they go to my church I can't marry them. You're messing yourself up. Then you're jumping from church to church. Different Sunday, looking for a man. This is not the way forward. So for me, it's just about having that mindset. But yes, the important part is to find a partner, somebody that is now saying, yes, I see you and you see me, and we are together.
Yeah.
So now, the next part of the question is...
So we've got the partner now, and we're talking about building and creating a future for both of us, and we realize, geez, we are not agreeing on certain subjects. How do we go about negotiating that experience?
I think it's important, and the big word is compromise, isn't it? I think that it's hard for us to meet someone and the perfect person wants exactly the same thing as you.
Yeah.
It's very difficult. I think even with us, there's been times where we may want different things either for ourselves or for our children, or we want to go in slightly different directions. But we always come back to the main goal.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And then we then decide, okay, cool, this can be part, or actually we can compromise and we don't have to do X or as much, or we can do Y instead.
Yeah.
I think it's important to have that compromise. I never feel like I'm forcing you along, or
No.
I'm making you go down this route. Like I always feel like we're working together and we're here because it's where we want to be. And I think compromise is important. But I also feel like you can only compromise so much.
Yeah.
And it has to be both people compromising.
Yeah.
It can't be compromised on one side and then the other side they're doing nothing.
Yeah. Absolutely. I feel like it can't just be because she's compromising, you're now saying, oh, you're going to take, this is the final decision. No, it has to be give and take. There has to be, okay, if I compromise on this, then he has to compromise on that and come to a middle. I think with our relationship, there's things that we haven't agreed on. And sometimes we've agreed to disagree and just parked it and then revisited it, a couple of months down the line. There's things where I've just said, okay, Emmanuel, you make the final decision because I trust you as my partner, the head of our household, that whatever decision you make will be the best thing for our family. And there's decisions where Emmanuel's like, Miriam, you make the decision because if I make the decision, I'll go, it might not end up being the right decision. So I think for us, we work well because we understand that at the end of the day, what we're working for is better for both of us. It's not better for one person. It's not better for me. It's better for both of us and better for our kids as well. So for instance, if, there's a couple and the guy is a bit of a saver or the woman is a bit of a saver and the guy is a bit of a spender, how can they find a middle ground so that they both can do what they want, but at the same time, they have a shared agreement?
Yeah, I think even before we get into that, there was this thing I saw on Twitter which really kind of made me feel like, okay, cool. So the woman says, I got married when both of us were broke. I was also 23 and had been with him since I was 17. I'm 36 now. If I ever marry again, which obviously means that she's no longer married,
Yeah.
it would not be to someone who is financially incompatible. I don't care how great they are in other areas. It matters equally to me. Always did, even while broke.
Oof.
So the question is that, yes, we talk about compromise and so forth, but are there certain areas where you can't compromise? Are there certain areas when it comes to finance and money and people's money mindset? Is that an area that, if someone's really bad with money, but they're really a lovely person and they treat you really nice, can you overlook the financial element?
I think to a certain extent, if they're willing to change, there's a difference if they're not willing to change.
What we're saying is, I think you could talk about change, but this is them.
This is how they are.
This is how they are. So what we're saying is that this person is really bad in this area. And even it changed, they've always been this way. So the change is not going to happen overnight. It's going to take a long time. And they're probably going to end up making a lot more mistakes before they learn, if they even learn at all. Or it's just something you're going to have to live with, that this person, when it comes to finances or comes to money, this is where they struggle and they've just got certain issues that they can't overcome. Do you think if there's 10 areas, for example, one area being finance and the other 9 areas they're really good in, do you think this one area of finance is enough for you to say, I can't be with that person?
Do you know, I think finance is such a big thing. Like, we need money for just everyday living. So you don't want someone that's both go to work, get paid, and he takes his money and spends it in the casino. Because what happens when, say, for instance, the woman has a baby and she has to go on maternity leave and the guy's now in charge of the money and then he's just blowing his money because he wants to go out with the buddies, go drinking. It never ends well. Do you know what I mean? So I feel like with finance, I don't know if there's varying degrees of how bad they are with money or what the problem is with money, and then you can say, okay, I can work on it, compromise and stuff like that. But for something that's important like that, I think it can be a deal breaker. It can be a deal breaker because if the guy's a gambler, a drinker, or he just spends his money on just random things and doesn't care about bills and food and the kids then that is a deal breaker, yes.
I agree. For me, I think we've seen it already. Like, the second highest reason for divorce is money, and somebody that is not good with money. And this is why I am so on. Like, I know, like, we talk about man being head of the house or whatever, but women is so important that everybody. It doesn't matter who's head and who's tail, who's whatever. Like, everybody needs to have a good financial solid background. They need to understand the basics, understand the key principles of money. Because if if you're not using money properly, like, it's going to affect all the other areas.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's going to affect, listen, if a man is, imagine, like you said, imagine now you go to, like, he spent the money in the casino thinking that it's a good time on horse racing.
On horse racing.
Gambling the money off and then lost the money. And then now you're struggling to pay bills. You're having to go overdraft, or you're having to put stuff that you have the cash for on your credit card. He can't even have a credit card because his credit's so bad.
Low.
He doesn't have a credit card, doesn't have an overdraft. He's now got letters coming. So you're having to use the money that you're making to pay for his bills and his mistakes as well. Then man says he wants to lay with you. Are you going to be in a mood to want to? Do you understand? You're not going to want to do that. And then also, how are you going to look at him as a man or as a partner? Do you know what I memean? Vice versa. If you have a woman and it feels like you go out to work and you work hard for your money, and then you come home and she's just spending it on items and stuff like that, and then you imagine you saved up money for a deposit for a property or for an investment in a business, and she saw the money and she took the money and used it to go on a shopping luxury goods or buy some shoes or whatever. You're going to see this woman as a liability.
Absolutely.
You're going to lose trust in this woman. And so no matter if she cooks, if she cleans, if she loves you, like, if somebody is spending money irresponsibly and it's our money and and this isn't, like I always say, I don't care who earns the money is ours because it's meant to be, we are together. So that money is ours. I don't care if you earn it and, I work hard for my money so I get to. No, it's our money. We are a family. We are building together. It's our money. So you can spend the money that we allocate for you to spend on whatever you want to. But the money that's meant to go into the family pot, that's ours. Do you know what I mean? And so that needs to be there. And if you're not chipping in, you're now a liability to me.
Yeah.
So how am I going to look at you? And then these things can then lead to, well, actually, I'm living with a liability. So then when you meet people that can add value to you, you start to draw a connection because you realize what you're missing at home. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it can definitely lead to infidelity. It can lead to a lot of arguments. It can lead to people distancing themselves because you're feeling like she don't get it. Or the vice versa. She's feeling like, this guy just doesn't get it.
Doesn't get it, yeah.
Like, I'm trying everything I can, but no matter how much I try, it's like I'm fighting against myself because my partner, who's meant to be here supporting me, meant to be here with me, is using our family resources and wasting it. And now I need to get new shoes for our kids, or I need to get them uniform, and I haven't got money to do that because it's been spent in it. The money's been spent in not because we don't have the money, but because it's not being managed in the correct way.
Properly, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You're prioritizing going on a holiday, or you're giving money to your friends and then never paying it back. But you're doing it so that you can look like the guy and look like the big guy. These are negative things that have a negative impact on a relationship.
And another thing is, you might even start off with the same goals, because I've heard stories of, like, the man's with the missus, the woman has been level-headed and he's trusted her with the money, and he's just sort of taken a step back just because he's like, my missus is good with it. And 5-10 years down the line, they realize that she's spent it all, that all the money that they were getting, their mortgages, their house about to be taken because she wasn't paying the mortgage. So even if you start together, follow the journey together, be involved. Don't say because my missus is in charge of it that you will leave her, and then something happens and then her mind switches, but you're still trusting her. So have your, what's that thing? Have your foot in the, what's that saying? Like, always keep your eye on the finances, even though you've left it in the hands of someone else. Always be checking in. Make sure that the bank account is making sense. Making sure that the joint bank account makes sense. See what they're doing with their spending. Like, you can tell if they're close. Be invested, basically. That's what I'm trying to say. Be invested.
Yeah, be present. I think a lot of the time, we are busy, so it's nice to leave the responsibility for someone else. But have regular meetings, have check-ins. Like, if it's me, we're building together. If I know that you're putting the money in the savings account, because again, me and Miriam have had to, because of I pay higher rate tax and so forth, with certain jobs that I've been in, certain money I've had to make Miriam take and then put in certain accounts in her name, because at that time she was a non-taxpayer or a lower taxpayer. So again, it's about we're it's not about whose money is in whose name. It's about how much of the money can we keep,
Yeah.
and who does it make sense to have the money so that we keep most of it. But at the same time, I'm still asking me like, let me see the online banking, make sure the money's like, what do you mean? Not because I'm not keeping an eye on it, or I'm just trusting that it's being done. It's important that she knows that she can't touch that money. Not
Yeah.
that she would anyway, but I need to be involved. I need to be checking
Absolutely.
because that's our money, and it doesn't matter whose name the money is in. It's our money, no matter what. Like if Miriam was to pass, God forbid, because I can't hack it. But if she wasn't here, like all that money would be transferred over to me eventually. Do you know what I mean? Because we're married. That's how it works. So it doesn't matter if my name is on the account or not. That's still my money.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean?
absolutely. Absolutely.
And vice versa. So for me, it's so important, and these things can like have such a nasty effect on a relationship if money's. So for me, if I saw that, and I'll just be honest, I met girls that want to spend. They see me, I'm driving a nice car, doing well, and they're already in their mind. You can see their minds
Their
already.
mind is
They're
ching.
already shopping before we're not even boyfriend and girlfriend, and you're already plotting like, yeah, this could work. Da, 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 da. It's not gonna happen for me. I'm not trying to bring on a liability, and I need you to understand that broke is a mindset.
Yeah.
Yeah. So broke is not about how much money there are people that have money and still broke. Okay, people that are making good money and are still broke, because broke is a mindset. And what we're trying to do is trying to help you understand, to give you the keys so that you can be broke but not have a broke mindset.
Yeah.
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 And eventually you will come out of that situation. Or you can be broke and have a broke mindset and you will stay
Stay
broke.
where you are.
You
Yeah.
understand? Even you see people, they win win the lottery, they win millions, and they end up going broke
But
again.
yeah, because they didn't know how.
It's a mindset. They don't know how to manage their money. They don't know how to build wealth. They don't know how to handle money. So money flows, and it flows into their hands and flows back out of them, no matter how much money it is. Okay? So for me, it's really, really, really important that you understand that there is going to be certain things that you can't bend on,
Absolutely.
and finance is one of them.
Absolutely. I completely agree. And I mean, we can go into all like finance, faith, kids, culture, traditions, things like that. Like, well, maybe not culture traditions, because that we're past the point of now this is a stickler, but there's just certain core values as a person. If your partner doesn't agree with it, it's not going to work.
Yeah, and
It's not.
It's not like, for example, like, yeah, finances was one, and I could see like when I used to take Mims out, she was different. She didn't want me to spend money on her. Like other girls I used to take out, they love it. They love making you spend money on them, and it's cool because I'm a brother. I like to spend money on, but she wasn't interested in that. You know what I mean? She didn't want to, and I loved the fact that she would do that, and I would do stuff like, oh, Mims, I'm busy. Can you go and get me this perfume? Do you know what I mean? And she would spend time researching to find the cheapest one, even if it's saving £2 or £3. She would do it. Do you know what I mean? I would send her, like, I would do things just to see that, okay, look, here's this money. I remember there was one, it was her birthday. I gave her, here's this money. Go and buy it. And I told you, when with your sister,
Yeah.
go to Selfridges and just
Buy.
one expensive bag. This girl bought one. No, it wasn't cheap, but there was change, and she kept the change. Do you know what I mean? And she was like, "Yeah, I might use it in the." That money was left in that account for time. She didn't spend it, and then eventually she found something that, like, whereas most would have gone there and said, it's not even enough. I need another 1,000, or I need another 2,000 for the thing. And do you know what I mean?
And spent all of it.
And
Yeah.
so for me, it was just little things I could say. I was like, no, I know that I can trust her with stewardship over money. Do you know what I mean? Because she's good. But also how she spoke to man. For me, that's really, really important. I'm big on respect. Like I don't deal with disrespect. Like, I'm not saying no one can't disrespect. You can disrespect me, but we won't see each other again. Do you know what I mean? I'm that type of person. Like, anyone can say anything. You can't control other people, but I can control who's in my space and who I allow into my space. And so once I see disrespect, I don't play games with that. And I remember, like, even if Mim's upset with man, or if I do something that she don't like, she would never raise her voice, start shouting at man. She'll never start, you're an idiot, you understand? Never cuss man, whatever. Like, it'd always be like, I don't understand why you did this, or can you explain to me what's going on here? I've heard this, or da-da-da-da. Do you understand? It was always like, okay, even though I'm upset, I respect this man. And so I'm going to talk to him with a level of respect, even when I'm upset. And for me, that was one of the key things. Some of us, once we're upset,
You lose
you
it.
lose it, and then we're just supposed to accept it. Like, you just talk to man. I remember one girl I was with, she got upset. She tried to give man a bang. I looked at that. Are you well? If I now slap you back, you will now go and cry. Do you understand?
Yeah.
She had to get dumped. You understand? Early. I don't play. Like, respect is so important. Because again, we can lose, if you can't control your temper, you can lose your cool anywhere. I knew where I was trying to go. Imagine I'm with my corporate clients, so I'm in a, and now someone's offended you. All of a sudden, you don't know how to behave yourself.
Hey.
You're now flipping tables or cussing somebody's mum or pouring drink on people's head. Or do you understand? That's going to be a reflection of me, and that's what people don't understand. Your partner is a reflection of you.
Yeah.
You are saying, I am with this person. So when this person, wherever they go, whether you're there or not, you are there.
Yeah.
They are representing you. And so for me, it was so important to have someone who I knew would represent me well, and someone that can talk to me in a way and show respect, because I'm a respectful person.
Yeah.
Like, I don't really shout. Like, only at my kids when they really, and they know they have to go.
Yeah, they have to get to a level before Emmanuel will raise his voice.
I'm not on that, because why should I? Why should I give anyone control over my emotions? It's my job to control because once you give control to people of your emotions, they will always know what buttons they need to press to get what reaction they want. I can't let that happen. Do you know what I mean? And so there are always going to be points, but for me, I feel like finance is one of the biggest. And I think for a lot of us, we'll say, they're not really good with money, it's okay. But if we are bringing kids into this world, we are building a foundation, and we're building a family, and we're building a family on a foundation of poor finances or poor money management, I think that house can only fall down.
No, definitely. And yeah, I feel like when we started having kids, we were very clear on we have goals for our kids. Forget even our personal goals as a couple, individuals. We have goals for our kids, and we know that for certain goals needs to bring money. So then the money again has to be split and allocated to fulfill those goals for our kids. And if you have a partner who's just all about them and making them look great and making them look good and whatever it is that they're focused on, and then the kids come and they start to act a different way, that will affect the way you view them. Because kids take up a lot of your time. They need their own level of attention as well. And if your partner is like, oh, you're not paying attention to me because you're focused on the kids, that's a major red flag. Not gonna lie. So you need to know what you're doing when you talk about kids, when you talk about, again, money, when you talk about where you want to be in 10 years' time, 20 years' time, 30 years' time. You have to see it as a long-term strategy.
And also know that there's flexibility. So, yes, understand that your goal, all you want is that the goals that you have and the goals that your partner have, even if they're different, they can still coexist. You don't want goals that can't coexist. So, for example, my wife wants to live, have us live in one house, and I want to have my own house, and we live separate. Or my wife wants us to be together as a family, and I want to go and us to be together as a family in Africa. And my wife doesn't want to go to Africa. Then our goals are not aligned.
No.
Do you understand? If I say, I want to live in Australia, my wife's like, I want to live in the UK, then that's a big problem. Her goals and what she wants to achieve in life, where she wants to buy a house, she can't. She wants to buy a house in the UK. I want to buy a house in Africa. And I want that to be where we're based and and it's different. It's not going to work. Our goals cannot coexist. Do you know what I mean? And that's that. But it may be that you want to be. So my wife, she was doing. You're working as a chef in the kitchen, and so a lot of that meant late nights. So if I'm a man that wants to have a family and I want my wife to be at home and be a homemaker and be not just be at home, but also whatever she does, she's there to be able to look after the kids. Then that job the goals don't coexist.
Yeah.
So if my wife said I want to be a cook, I want to be a chef, and that's where we want to be, then we would have to have a conversation about how does this work in regards to having kids? How does this work in regards to our family? And if it was a case that it couldn't work, then we would have to separate.
Yeah, definitely.
Not out of not having love, not out of not wanting to be together, but if I'm coming home and you're leaving to go to, and we're like ships in the
Ships in
night,
the night, yeah.
then trust me, I know me. I'm gonna find a new ship to dock at. I'm gonna find a new dock. You understand? And we're gonna be doing
Oh
ships.
my God.
That's just real talk, because I understand it as a person that I know the attention that I require from my partner. Do you know what I mean? And if that can't happen due to our career moves and due to our own personal goals, if your goal was like, you know, to be like the best chef in the world and open your own restaurant, I want you to achieve that.
Yeah.
And I love you enough to know that I want you to achieve it, but it's not going to work with me.
Yeah.
And sometimes you have to love someone enough that if that's their goal, that's their dream, to let them go.
You have to let it go. Absolutely.
You have to love somebody, and that is what we call being selfless. A lot of us are selfish. We love somebody so much that we want to hold on to them.
And then you cause problems for yourself down the line because their lifestyle or how they live doesn't align with your lifestyle and how you live. And then you just end up hating the person that you love so much.
But you knew it was going to happen.
Yeah.
You could everything that they said they wanted to achieve is what they. So if you know that that's going to be the case, then you have to separate. And sometimes it might be a case of you separate, and then that person realizes actually like it's not as important to me. Like I've gone down there. Actually, I don't want that as much. And now my goals have changed, or the things I want to change, and you can potentially come back together. Do you know what I mean? What I'm saying is that if you really like partnership. It's not about being selfish, it's about being selfless.
Yeah.
It's about putting the other person first. Do you know what I mean? And so if I'm putting my wife first, I want what she wants. I want her to achieve. If that's really important to me, then I need to know that that might mean I have to let her go. Or I might have to change and make sacrifices. Do you know what I mean? And if I'm not prepared to make those sacrifices, that's just going to build resentment.
Yeah.
It's going to build distance. And then all of a sudden, I'm not going to see her as my wife anymore. I'm going to see her as the enemy because she's affecting my life in a negative way.
Yeah.
So, yeah, for me, goals are important, and they're not the be-all and end-all. Like, a lot of them you can be flexible.
Yeah.
The most important thing is to compromise, but not compromise to the detriment of your core values.
Yeah. Because
then when you do that, all of a sudden...
It's Pandora's box.
Yeah. Anything else on that?
No, I mean, I hope this has helped the person who asked the question. I hope that it's giving you ideas of how to navigate whatever you're facing in your situation. But if there's room for change and there's room for flexibility, then work on it. Yeah. Work on it. Don't just say, oh, because she's this way, I'm going to walk away, or because he's this way. If there's room for change, then try.
Yeah.
Because they might be what you need, but they just need someone to show them that there's a different way of living.
Yeah. And definitely there's flexibility in this life. Like you said, technology is advancing, life is advancing. There's room. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like, for example, like now, I might not want to live in the UK. My wife don't want to move to Africa. There's so many other countries in the world.
Yeah.
So all we now need to do is find somewhere
that we're both happy with.
And it might be in the UK, but it might be in the countryside. It might be somewhere where we're more remote. Do you know what I mean? There are so many options, but it's about making sure that you're doing that together. And as long as both parties are together, happy, supporting, you're not always going to be happy, but you understand the road that you're on and that this is a season and this is for a period of time, then go for it.
Absolutely.
Yo, this has been the Eman Effect podcast with the wonderful
Mimi.
Hey, and thank you for listening. I hope it helps. Please like, share, comment, subscribe. Follow us on the YouTube, follow us on the socials, put your comments there, let us know. Like I said, anyone's got any issues, any problems, you know, Uncle Eman's the new agony aunt out here. We're out here answering it all. Yeah, like, thank you for your support. We want to keep growing, keep getting better. It's all about adding value. We're going to be having guests soon, so let us know who you'd like us to have on the pod, and we'll try and get them on for you. So yeah, man, thanks for listening, and until next time, stay blessed.
Thank you.